Hello, folks. This is Bob Safale, and I am, of course, with Digital Frontier News. And this is our Digital Coin Experts Intelligence Report Crash Training sponsors this webinar. And the first thing, as you know, I like to do is to make sure you can actually hear me. So everybody, if you take a look at your little screen on the upper, I think the upper right-hand side, you should see a little hand. That's how you can wave at me and say, hey, Bob, I hear you. So everybody wave at me. Just click on there real quick. Wave. Okay. Holy smokes. The crowds are just getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. This is great. More people are hearing what we're doing with these webinars, and it's fantastic. Remember, by the way, you can always invite your friends by just sending them the link that you're using. So they can click on and get involved and see what we're doing. So just remember that. And I also want to remind you here is that we do these every Thursday. Okay? We do these every single Thursday at 8 o'clock. And I want to remind you the purpose of this. And the purpose of our webinars is very simple. It's based on massive market research that we've done. A market research firm called On Target Research that's owned and run by Bruce Wiseman did a significant survey of over almost 500 people, and he found that people want to know two things. They want to have insider information about what's really going on in the crypto world. They want to get that inside skinny. That's what they're interested in doing. So that's the first thing. The second thing they want to know are trends. They want to know what the trends are that are going on. So that's what we do here. We give you the inside skinny. We bring experts in so you get to know all about what's going on. So without further ado, I really want to kind of get into and kind of almost a setup of our special guest that we're going to be talking to just in a few moments here. I kind of like to remind you, who you are and how early you are. You have to remember, everybody here is in a very unique position. You are truly early adopters. You have such an advantage over everybody else. Do you realize that less than 1% of the world population has even heard of cryptocurrency or digital currency? Just a fraction of 1% have even used a wallet to acquire a currency. And I know I showed you last week something called the S-curve. That's called the adoption curve. I'm not going to bore you with that again. But the adoption curve says that the first 2.5% of people that get involved with a new industry are the innovators. They're the folks that are even before the early adopters. And it's widely known that the innovators make a crazy amount of money. The early adopters make a whole heck of a lot of money. And then you have the early majority, which is from 13.5% to 50%. They do okay. And then you have everybody else, who I call the herd. Now, you guys certainly aren't the herd, but what ensures that you aren't the herd is that you act on what we're showing you. Now, I want to show you something so you understand that anybody can become fabulously wealthy, and it doesn't matter who the heck you are. I want to show you a couple of folks that made a fortune in the cryptocurrency world. This is Charlie Shrem. Okay? This guy is a student at Brooklyn College when he bought 500 Bitcoins at $3 to $4. This guy is worth a fortune now. Now, I just want to ask you, everybody here, just put up your little hand if you think, well, what the heck? If he could do it, so can I. Just click your little hands. I mean, come on, this guy's driving around a little taxi. So do you guys think you could actually do as well as Charlie here? Okay, let me show you another person here. This guy is Roger Ver. Okay, what was he doing before he ran into Bitcoin? Well, he was a California state assemblyman. Okay, I'm not trying to disparage politicians or anything, but this fellow was an assemblyman. All right, and he's now worth a fortune because he acted quickly. Okay, let me show you another guy. Now look at this fella. Look what this is Yifa Gu, I guess his name is. Now, he's a New York University student who just started mining some Bitcoin, and then started, of all things, he started to mine Bitcoin to pay his rent. Okay? Well, suffice to say, Yifa is doing pretty doggone good. So I only point this out because if you're sitting there in your home office, or your home, or I don't care where you're sitting, and you're thinking to yourself, well, I kind of want to benefit from the crypto world. I want you to up your game. Okay, I want you to think a lot higher. I want you to dream a lot bigger, because I think most of the people on this call right now, this webinar, I think you've got probably a little bit more juice than Yifa. I'm not saying Yifa is not the greatest guy ever, but I think there are people on this call. I want you to all up your game. So before we go further, I just want everybody to click on their little hand. So then that's a New Year's resolution saying, I'm really going to do well with crypto. I'm not kidding around. Actually, just go ahead and click on the little hand. I want to see those little hands. That's on your upper right-hand screen. And I'm actually not joking here. I want you to decide, I'm really going to go for it with this crypto world and get a lot of knowledge and take full advantage. Now, I don't see enough hands up, so please, let's see some more hands. Come on. I know you can do it. And I'm half joking and I'm half serious now. I want you all to commit to learning all about this. Now, I want to just show you one of the things that on our last webinar, I think it was 2 webinars ago, we advised everybody to look at a coin called Ripple. Okay, now I just want to remind everybody, I think you may remember, we told you all about Ripple, that you should get involved. Okay, now that was just I think the second week of December. Look what Ripple has done in the last month. Okay, look what Ripple has done in the last month. See how much it's jumped? That's a lot, isn't it? Okay, all right. And in fact, it's doing so well that the Ripple co-founder, well, that's got a little sound going on there. I hope you like the sound. The Ripple co-founder is now richer than the founders of Google. Okay, that's the co-founder of one of the some of the co-founders of Google. This fella is now a billionaire. Okay, his currency has gone up hundreds and hundreds of percent, and we told you about Ripple before it started doing the blade. Remember, I've been talking about the hockey stick. The handle is when you want to find currencies that are solving problems where their price is still fairly even. Okay, all right, that's what you want to do. See, that's called the handle, and you want to try to get in the handle somewhere around here. Okay, and we tell you the way you find a coin at the handle stage is you find a coin that maybe has not jumped on all the exchanges yet, or even gotten on 2 or 3, but solves a big problem. That's the type of currency. You've got to find currencies that solve a big problem, that are yet to jump onto the exchanges heavily, and also are what I call critical mass event. A critical mass event is when you have a large number of people holding the coin. As long as you just have hundreds of people holding a coin, you're not hitting critical mass. When you start having thousands of people hold a coin, you're getting close to critical mass event. Then once they hit an exchange or 2 or 3, and then maybe even get some news stories about them, boom, off they go, ballistic growth, and that's your blade. Okay, so you really want to find out. So I want to remind everybody, those folks that came on this briefing 2 weeks ago, we talked all about Ripple. This is before they went into their really, really high ballistic move on their blade. And we are looking at some other currencies right now. Now, let me just go a little further. I kind of want to talk right now, before we bring our guest on, about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies that depend on blockchain. Now, I want to just remind you again, you're trying to find currencies, digital currencies that solve a problem. If you leave tonight's event with nothing else but remembering this one thing, find a currency that solves a problem. Then I've done my job. Now, this is an article, and this is talking about a huge problem for Bitcoin. It's the transaction fee cost. It's going up and up and up. Right now, that range is anywhere from $9 to $45 a transaction for a Bitcoin. Now, you all say, well, that's nothing if you're buying a Bitcoin for $17,000, or I'm using Bitcoin to buy a car. But folks, here is when this is when this adoption phase goes into hypergrowth, is when coins are used in the retail world. Right now, most of the transactions are people buying and selling the coins for the purpose of investment. What really takes this whole sector to the next level is when retailers start using the coin and accepting the coin in purchases. Now, I know you've heard of, several companies that are now taking Bitcoin and other coins, but it's a fraction of the number of companies out there. And when I talk retail, I'm not just talking about stores like brick and mortar. I'm talking about stores online. I'm talking about people who want to sell product on eBay and Amazon. They want to be able to have some way to accept a currency like Bitcoin or use a currency like Bitcoin. So when you think about transaction fees, and you're about to learn about why those are so expensive these days from our special guest, you have to understand, if the transaction fees are expensive and it takes a long time to actually do a transaction, if it takes hours to buy a coffee a coffee at Starbucks, you're never going to see crypto coins getting into Starbucks or digital coins. It's only when the transaction is instant or near instant, I mean inside of a second or 2 seconds, and when the transaction fees are very small. That's the only time you're going to see this world really get big. So I'm saying again, you want to look for coins that solve a problem. And with that said, I want to introduce you to the founder of CloudCoin, and I can tell you right now, CloudCoin is and has solved this transactional fee problem and the speed of transaction problem. So without further ado, I'd like to say hi. Sean, how are you doing?
I'm doing very good, Bob. Thanks for having me.
You excited about being on our show tonight?
I really am. I'm a computer scientist, not much into investment, but just hearing you talk about this, it's really exciting.
Can you believe how many people are on this webinar right now? It's crazy, huh?
It's wonderful, yeah.
We only started these 3 weeks ago, so it's just the crowd just keeps on growing. First of all, what I would like to do is I'd like you to kind of give us a little background on CloudCoin and kind of your, why you started it, how you started it. I think people love to hear that you're in the middle of your doctorate. Could you describe that and give us a little background?
Sure. I teach computer science in a community college and have for about 17 years. And I've been working on my PhD in computer information systems. And I homeschool my daughter, and I was trying to study philosophy with her, and I was studying actually Plato, and we came upon Plato's Forms, and the question came to me of what is money? What is the essence of money? What makes money money? Why is gold considered money by some people but not other people? Why is Bitcoin considered money? Is Bitcoin really money? What's the difference between paper dollars and gold and Bitcoin? And I came to the conclusion that the most important part of a currency is that it cannot be counterfeited, or that it's difficult to counterfeit. So like the reason why gold is or silver is useful as money is because in order to make more silver, you got to go and start a silver mine. You got to mine it out. It takes a lot of energy and time. So it being difficult to counterfeit is very important. But then I realized that monetary systems are actually information systems, and that money plays the role of data. And so what I did is I said, well, if money is data, we've got these computer science books that tells us exactly what the perfect data is. And I opened them up and I applied everything to monetary systems and money. And I came up with what I think is the most perfect money possible, CloudCoin. And it's designed to solve every single problem that we could have with a currency.
And you were, and what I thought the most interesting thing was you were about to do, you were actually doing your paper to complete your doctorate, and you said, well, whoa, is this right? You went, wait a second, I'm not going to put this in a paper, I'm going to put this in a business. Is that right?
That's exactly right. I ran this idea upon some economists to ask them if they had ever heard of it, and they said no, that they hadn't. And then I went and I talked to a patent attorney, and they said they hadn't seen it. So I went ahead and just filed for a patent, and I said, why should I debate in a thesis if this thing is real or not? Why don't I just try it out, do some experiments, and actually implement it?
Wow, that is cooler. That is really cool. So let's tell people, how does this counterfeiting technology work? What this anti-counterfeiting technology? And I think people, once they understand, because let me just say this, the whole point, everybody, why would you use a digital currency is because you want to be able to take value and move it across the planet or move it across the internet rapidly. That's the cool thing about it. You can't take a dollar bill and send it over the internet to buy something, but you can send a digital currency. So the whole key is you want to make sure the digital currency that goes from you gets across the internet safely to the receipt point. So can you explain to people exactly how your system works and why the transactions happen so quickly and cost nothing?
Sure. So with something like Bitcoin, everybody has to have an account. They all have to sign up. They have to be on the public ledger. They've got to download this 150 gigabyte thing called the blockchain. But what we did with CloudCoin is instead of giving people accounts, we gave money the accounts. And so we gave every CloudCoin basically 25 passports. And these passports are connected to countries all over the world. So we've got 25 countries and we've got 25 independent operators, 25 different hardware setups, different software. And basically when I give you a CloudCoin, you're going to check the passports to make sure that they're good. And when you check them, you're going to change their passwords so that only you know them. And so in the past, whoever had the money physically was the owner of them. But with CloudCoin, whoever knows the money is the owner.
And what happens essentially when you send the money, it's being shred into all these pieces, distributed out to all these nodes all over the world. Each of these little shreds, like a passport, it gets checked, and when it gets to the receipt point, it's all reassembled, and bing bam boom, it's been authenticated. Am I right, or am I saying that too simply?
Well, it's simply put. It's a little bit more complicated than that, but you can certainly, what you can say is that we don't rely on encryption. And because we don't rely on encryption, and we're talking to 25 servers in parallel all over the world, and because of the speed of light is so fast, we can actually contact them and get a pass or fail authentication within milliseconds. So within 700 milliseconds, which is even faster than Visa or debit, we can tell if that money's real or not, and nobody has to log in or use their passwords.
Wow, that is really good. So I think now we understand why the transaction speed, and I just want to make sure, my whole theory of the kind of the crypto world is correct. I mean, right now you have people primarily buying and selling coins, but this universe has to extend out to retail stores. Would you agree?
Absolutely. I mean, if you cannot use money to buy things at a store or on Open Bazaar or any other kind of online thing, what good is it? And so its utility, right, like right now, Bitcoin is primarily used to make $1 million purchases. If you're going to buy it to, buy it, use it to buy something that take many hours, and you're going to pay $45 for a fee to do that. And that might be worth it if you're buying $1 million worth of oil out of Venezuela, but it's not going to work for buying a coffee, like you said, or buying a Pepsi or something.
Exactly. Now, I know a lot of the folks that have been interested in cryptocurrencies are in the original kind of group started, by Satoshi, who we don't know whether that's a person or not. But originally, this was something that libertarians were very excited about. Could you kind of walk us through that?
Yeah, sure. So it doesn't take a genius to see that the Federal Reserve and other banks around the world, other central currencies, are being manipulated by governments, some more than others. We can see in Venezuela that the people are just getting raked over the coals by the inflation that their currency has caused. So they wanted to get away from the Federal Reserve notes, get into something else. Gold and silver just doesn't allow you to trade globally. And Bitcoin was the first digital currency to solve what's called the physical integrity problem of digital money. And that means that there's no way that the government can destroy it, or that somebody can delete it, or somebody can change the records. And so it's the first mover, and it was really the big first hit for digital money.
Now, what the problem is my understanding is the public general ledger. I mean, effectively, I mean, I don't want to spook people here, but I mean, sure, an individual is not going to sit there and start, maybe not, maybe so, maybe not, isn't going to go look at the general ledger and look at your transactions you've done, since you've had a coin. But a government or a major business, a marketing business, for instance, at some point they're going to take their quantum computers and they're going to start aiming them right down at a granular level to individuals and start pulling up their buying trends, even what they bought. I mean, is that a reasonable conclusion when you think about the power of quantum computing?
Absolutely. So one of the big problems of Bitcoin is that it uses the blockchain. The blockchain literally takes every transaction and records it. It makes it so you can read every transaction. Everybody can read all the transactions, but nobody can change them or delete them. And so this allows anybody to go through and watch how money is changing hands, how it's moving. The only thing is you don't see their names, you just see their account numbers. But if you can link their account number to that person, then you know exactly what they've been doing. And of course, the federal government has done this several times, where they come and take people's computers, they find the keys, then they know everything and they can prove it in court exactly what they've been doing. And they've also had it where the IRS has just come and asked Coinbase for all the account numbers and of people that are spending more than $20,000, I think. And so now they've got all that information. So the public ledger tracks everything. It takes away all your privacy. It is something called pseudo-private if you cannot link the name with the account. But something like CloudCoin is 100% private. There's no records at all of any transactions.
In fact, you mentioned Coinbase. There was quite a lawsuit that was going on. There was a big battle back and forth, and ultimately, you're right, they don't go down. Coinbase, of course, is a major exchange, folks. That's where you can buy coins or sell coins. But Coinbase ultimately acquiesced, and I think you're right. It's either 20,000 or 50. If you bought $20,000 worth or 15,000, Coinbase is providing all of their records, the keys, to the IRS. Also, recently, and folks, I don't want to scare everybody off of Bitcoin. That's not my intent here. I want you to understand problems, because remember, you want to find currencies that solve problems. Once again, if you remember that, you're in pretty good shape. But here's what we believe is going to happen in the future, okay? There are a lot of currencies. There are currencies that are based on blockchain, and there's also a lot of currencies, such as CloudCoin, that are based on authentication platforms like CloudCoin. That's an authentication platform. And what will eventually be happening, maybe sooner than later, is people and funds and investment groups and folks that have made a lot of money in Bitcoin, they are going to start selling off a portion of their profits. That's natural. And they are going to reinvest that money, because after you made 5, 6, 7 times return in a year, you're not going to turn around, take your profits, and then throw it into some, sleepy mutual fund. Okay? They're just not going to do that. They're going to take their profits in most cases, and they're going to start reinvesting. What are they going to reinvest in? We really believe they'll take a portion of their money and they'll put it in other alternative currencies that operate on blockchain, but we believe a lot of that money is going to fly over to authentication platforms such as CloudCoin. Is that kind of your read on this, Sean?
Yes, there's only a limited number of different types of platforms out there now as far as technology goes. And what's happening is we're seeing that people are switching from the technologies that have become popular and get overloaded to other ones that are less popular and not overloaded. And I think they're just going to go down the path until they find the currency that actually cannot be overloaded and that works.
Exactly. Now, one other thing, and this is something I've kind of touched on. We're actually working on our own patent application on a celebrity-based digital product. We are now working, for you all to know, we are now working with CloudCoin in developing a package where celebrities get involved with endorsing companies, because if you all don't know, I also own a celebrity company. We connect celebrities up with businesses. We work with well over 5,000 celebrities in the sports, music, TV, and film space. We've been doing this for years. We've done hundreds and hundreds of huge campaigns with celebrities, and A-list, B-list, you name it. And what we're doing now is we're taking celebrities and we're adding to that mix CloudCoin in terms of incentives. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, you may all remember that, maybe in the 50s or 60s or even the 70s a little bit, you remember the S&H green stamps and the yellow stamps? You used to go to the grocery store and you bought a bunch of stuff. They gave you these yellow stamps and green stamps, and you would take these things and put them in these books and use the books to buy stuff. Well, we're about to start using CloudCoin because it transfers instantly, okay? And there's no transaction fees. We're about to have CloudCoin being used by companies as incentives. So when somebody, let's say there's a company involved with jewelry, and they're competing with another jewelry company, and the price is about the same, and the jewelry is about the same, what can make that company get somebody to buy their jewelry instead of the other people? Well, how about they add some cryptocurrency or digital currency, in this case, digital currency. Why don't they use that as an incentive? Like if you buy X, you'll also get 10 cloud coins or 20 cloud coins or 50 cloud coins. And we have just announced that this week, and you wouldn't believe the reaction I've had. What are your thoughts on, pretty excited about that, Sean, what we're doing in terms of getting CloudCoin out into the retail world?
Yes, absolutely. And we're seeing all kinds of developments on all kinds of fronts. For example, it looks like that we're going to become the 4th currency to be accepted on OpenBazaar, which is a big peer-to-peer market, and that should happen in the next month. So that's a big deal. We also have something called AriseBank.com. They just announced that they want to use CloudCoin and the RADA. We've got this new technology called RADA Chat that they want to use that in their banking system. So that's a big deal. And we are able to create a peer-to-peer banking system in which everybody has a bank on their desktop or on their cell phone. So things are just exploding. The possibilities are really huge.
That's fantastic. Now, I wanted to note, people, last week I was not correct. I was saying that the trading range, actually earlier this week, I was saying the trading range right now in CloudCoin was about 3 to 8.5 cents. It actually is now hitting 10 cents a coin. As you can see, this peer-to-peer exchange just opened up, and they're already starting to take transactions with a CloudCoin. Now, remember what I told you. you want to get involved with coins and currencies that are still at the handle phase before they become the blade. You do not want to be on the blade or too far up the blade, wishing you had gotten in on the handle. So I want to make sure everybody understands I was off like a little bit. The latest trades are running at 10 cents. So sorry about that, Sean. I had misspoke, I think, a couple days ago. So I know you're
Well, this, by the way, this exchange is new, and it's a good way to get money, or get CloudCoin at the best price that you can get it.
That's fantastic. So listen, I want to thank you a lot, Sean, for sitting down with us for a little bit. And I know you're busy in a one-arm paper hanger, but this is very, very exciting. I understand you're going to be at called the Freedom Fest? What's that all about?
So there's a National Freedom Fest in Las Vegas in July, and that's basically a meeting of all of the world's libertarians, and we're going to be a diamond sponsor there. We're going to be there at the general meeting, and we hope to show the whole world that CloudCoin is here to dominate. And I'm also going to be on the Connie Willis show on YouTube, and that's Blue Rock Talk. And so we're just becoming more famous among the libertarians.
Well, I tell you also, how many radio shows have you been on the last 60 days? 50, 60 now?
That sounds about right. It's about 3 every day. It's been a lot.
That's unbelievable. Well, listen, Sean, I really want to thank you for sitting in and visiting with us. I hope you become a regular guest. Can I convince you to do that?
Absolutely. I'm happy to help you anytime I can.
Absolutely. So hang in there. You're going to learn about what we're doing with the Digital Experts Intelligence Report. Folks, if you've learned anything tonight, you should learn this. It's all about intelligence and information. You've got to get information as an innovator. You're ahead of early adopters. You are at the innovator level right now. So what you have to do is you have to stoke yourself with information. You got to get information in any way possible. And what we're doing, and we just launched the Deer Report. You're actually seeing that you normally you're not going to see this if you don't have a password. But this is the Deer Report, and this is just the front section of the Deer Report. I'm going to give you a little look under the hood, as they would say. We have, with the Deer Report crash training, it's all about getting information to you as quickly and in as organized fashion as possible so you can use information. We've broken up what we're doing into 4 pieces. We have speed lessons. These are instant lessons that give you information on one aspect of the digital coin world. And each speed lesson goes out, you get it. It's by the way, this is a 90-day system. It started January 2nd. We're already getting rave reviews, and it goes to the end of March. So we've started our speed lessons. We've done 4 already that people have access to. We started our coin alerts. These are the favorite coins, and the minute our experts and people we're dealing with tell us, hey, here's the inside stuff on XYZ coin, we alert our Deer Crash Training subscribers online instantly through email. Hey, here's a hot coin. Here's what we like about it. Take a look at it, and act as you decide to act. So we have our favorite coin alerts. We also have started. Whoops! I hope I didn't do something wrong there. Oh, yeah. Let me see here. We started our big interviews. These are interviews. We have done an interview with Sean. We've done interviews with 2 other folks. Actually, 3 other folks. These are 15-minute instant interviews that we do, and then we notify people. And once again, they're 15 minutes. They're quick. You can learn very rapidly with the Deer Report. And lastly, what we do with the Deer Report is we have a constant info update. It's literally like a chain of information. We keep on adding, pieces of information about what's happening in the crypto world every single day, every single week. So what are we trying to do with the Deer Report? We're giving you the inside stuff. the inside information. It is invaluable. But what we're doing, since Sean is here and he's been so helpful for us, what we're doing tonight is the course, by the way, is only $199. And frankly, if you can't make your money back rapidly, like instantly, I'd be shocked. So I want to, before I talk about a special we're doing tonight, I want you to take your pen out and write down a couple of things. Number one, I want you to get my email address, because if you try to get involved with the deer crash training and you're having problems, I need you to email me tonight. And my email address is bob@digitalcurrencygrowth.com. That's bob@digitalcurrencygrowth.com. Now, if you order in the next 2 hours the deer report, we're going to give you 2,500 cloud coins to work with, because we want you to explode your wealth fast. And right now, it sounds like that handle may be getting close to a blade soon with CloudCoin, particularly with all the radio shows we've been setting up for Sean, with the new retail program we're doing with celebrities. We now have somewhere over 7,000 subscribers who are interested in learning about CloudCoin. So you're going to get 2,500 cloud coins if you purchase in the next 2 hours the deer report. Now, how do you purchase? Well, you're going to go to Digital Frontier News right here, Digital Frontier News, and you're going to click on Info Products. Okay, that's what you're going to click on. You're going to read a little bit, and then you're going to see the invest button, or not invest, excuse me, the order button, and you'll order. So, folks, it's very important. We are limiting the number of people in this course. We're not going to do this for thousands of folks, because we got to be able to answer questions and that kind of thing. So, once again, if you get involved with the deer report, the deer crash training, and you do it in the next 2 hours, that means up till just before 11 o'clock, you're going to get 2,500 cloud coins. So that's pretty cool. Now, one last thing. In order for you to get your free cloud coins for attending tonight, you got to do this. And if you don't do this, you're not going to get the coins. You've got to go to digitalfrontiernews.com, and you've got to click on webinar, okay? And then you're going to see on the right-hand side, I attended the webinar. You got to register, okay? You got to make sure you register, because if you don't do that, we don't know that you actually were here, because you only get the coins if you were here live during this event. So once again, we're very excited about having you. You won't believe what we're going to have next week. We're going to have a pretty interesting webinar. We're going to be revealing some information that we're working on right now. I hope we're going to be able to talk about everything next week. The folks at the deer crash training will, of course, learn first, because they get the hot skinny first. Sorry, folks, if you're in the deer crash training, you get some extra bennies. But hopefully next week I'm going to have some additional news for you. In addition, if you have ideas for subjects, you can always email me at bob@digitalcurrencygrowth.com. I'll be glad to hear your ideas. We'll track them down. If you have any, if you see any articles that you read and you think we should know about, make sure you email me those articles. So once again, if you want true inside information that only a few people get access to in the form of speed lessons, in the form of our favorite coin alerts, our big interview segments that only deer members have access to. These interviews that we're doing with experts, 15-minute interviews, are only available for our deer members. So that's $199. If you do it in the next 2 hours, you get 2,500 cloud coins. Get the cloud coins when they're in the handle, not the blade. I want to thank everybody for attending tonight's event. I appreciate your efforts in being here. Thank you very much.